I'm Stefan Baumann. I would like to invite you on a special journey to discover the splendor, encounter the grandeur, feel the excitement. Come along with me as we experience the thrill of painting outdoors. A 3-day journey that will change your art forever. In one of America's most stunning locations, Mount Shasta. Everything you need to know is on our website, www.stefanbaumann.com. Our homework this week was to tell a story.
I thought it was to paint something important to you.
Well, that's usually telling a story. I mean, you could have told a story about somebody else's experience, but art is autobiographical. It's about your life. People don't want to read stories about other lives and other people unless it's about them that you're reading about. So painting is your life. So it is something. It's something you care about. And that's just an example. So like, if you care about your mother's pearls, or you care about your family heirloom, that's a thing. What did you paint?
I painted my dog.
So you care about your dog. So what about your dog do you feel connected to?
I can't live without my dog. Gotta have him.
Gotta have your dog.
Gotta have him.
Well, but for instance, if painting is about your life, it's autobiographical, and yes, a dog would show up as a possibility for a painting.
Yeah.
But if art is about telling a story, then your story about a dog coming, you get a rescue dog, which you care a lot about, and then you are having problems with training it. And so you go through whatever, you walk into the room and it's like, surprise! And then, do you ever catch your dog in the act?
No.
No. But if you did, the dog would scoot and would leave it a little bit behind. Right? Some of the evidence.
Yeah.
Sometimes dogs go, I didn't do that. That's not mine. They look at the other dog, that's his, that's not mine. That's obviously done by a much bigger dog than me. But the thing is, that would be a story.
Yeah.
So how you would tell that story? So there's a Dutch artist, and he wrote Dutch Treat, and his whole thing is storytelling. It's all about his life. It's all about his experiences. His notebooks are all about things that happen, and he does write a little story in there about house training a dog. He's got actually a book out. I said he's a Dutch artist. He's passed away since, a few years ago. And these books you can buy on the internet. And they're really funny and they're amazing. And he also wrote a book about gnomes. The little garden gnomes?
Oh, I've seen that book.
Yeah, so that's his book. He invented them, gave them personalities and stuff. And so everything he has, but he has a book on dogs. And in there he talks about potty training. And you can tell the little stories that he has just in one little snippet. You can get that whole essence of that in one work of art. Yeah, well, that's a portrait of a dog. It's like storytelling is like, can we tell what's really happening in the picture, something about your life? And if you paint something you care about, taking that and making it into something that's even more. Sometimes, I do have students when I do the Power to Create class, we actually do a series of paintings that are about things you care about, stories that you care about, mainly so that you focus in on them. If you did your mother's pearls, for instance, if you had a set of pearls, and let's say your mom wore pearls every day and you were connected with those, and somehow when you see them, they make you feel something. Trying to paint that in that feeling, that would be appropriate. Even though it's a thing, somehow you connect with them and you bring something out from them. In my Power to Create class, this is week 9. And I always tell people when they start, they're going to say, you're going to love this class, except for week 9. Because we have like 17 people in that class and they all do 5 paintings a week. And when we get to about week 9, not only are they exhausted at that point, they're like halfway through, but the subject matter that they're painting is really meaningful. In the process of painting it, you get a lot of tissue passed around, a lot of stories that are meaningful. And when you kind of are in that space and you're painting something that is so close, so meaningful for you, it's a different experience than if you're just painting somebody else's dog or somebody else's things. And what is the most connection that you have when you're doing either a portrait of a dog or a portrait of a human? What is the most crucial element can you put in that expresses the most human quality?
The eyes are
the eyes.
where it begins.
So usually in the eyes you connect. When you see a dog, you connect with them, usually visually through their eyes. And see that I'm not getting that connection.
Okay.
See, when you do the eyes and you kind of veil them like that, I can't quite get a feeling for that.
Okay.
So your eyes are kind of covered. If your eyes are central focal point, they should be a little more centered. And if you notice, this whole portrait, you've got his whole body, but really we just care about his head. Mm-hmm. And so this part of the painting is almost fuel. You can cut this painting in half and still get the same quality of your painting. So what you want to do is you want to get the animal or the human that you're painting to face you so that they're looking back at you.
All right.
When sometimes you tell your dog, Fred, and he's like, you go, Fred. Yeah, and they go, Fred. Yeah.
Yes.
That connection, then you're connected with him, right? Otherwise, you don't know if he hears you, but he's not listening to you. But you want to get that. So you want to get that expression.
Like the eyes that Mercedes painted on her dog.
Yeah, look at how cool. She ended up putting those eyes in her painting. I said, you could just, it was after that was done. No matter what she does with that, the eyes had. And she had these eyes that kind of looked up like it was thinking, like almost like Garfield the cat, And the thing is, they're so expressive that way, So you want to be able to have the eyes. You want them to be open. You want them to look at you. Then what you want is, see, right now we just have a portrait of a dog, any dog, So the eyes kind of will have that, and there'll be quite a few little suggestions in there that kind of make it your dog. One of my coaching students, her name is Virginia Largo, and she paints animals. She's amazing. She's like one of my rock stars. And she painted my Shasta, my border collie, and she's got Shasta's look. And it's just, she captures that. All of her paintings, she captures 100%. She not only paints them extraordinary, but she picks up on whatever their characteristics are.
Okay.
And it's really an unusual thing, but it makes you stand out of the pack. If you're going to do animal portraits, you really want to capture that essence, that look. It's like a portrait. And if it's a little bit off, it could be any dog. Mm-hmm. So you have to be with the dog for a bit to kind of see that essence, and then you got to try to go for that. And you're not going to get that necessarily in a photograph. You're going to get that by starting off with maybe a photograph, but then alter it and shape it and be with your dog and say, what makes this dog so unique? And sometimes it's like they have really bright eyes, they have kind of a lazy look, they lift one ear. All of those characteristics tell a story about the dog. And then on top of that, you get the beautiful effect of the eyes. And then you have to have a beautiful effect of light. And most people take portraits of their animals inside with artificial light or some kind of flash and it's real flat. You want to make sure you get a picture that has partial sun and mostly shade. Well, I can't tell which way the sun's really coming from. There's not a real story there. Just your story coming into your painting can tell something. You could have this dog sitting underneath a tree with dapple lighting and totally have the dog disappear in the dapples or come in and out. And then you're telling a light story. And you're telling your viewer it's not about the dogs, it's about the lighting. And when you go beyond that, when you do a portrait that's more than just a likeness, then you become a master painter. You know, there were thousands of people that were painting portraits at the same time Rembrandt was. If you wanted a portrait of your mom or aunt or of an event, you could hire a portrait painter for that. And there were a lot of portrait painters that were earning their living painting. Why is Rembrandt so popular? Rembrandt's popular because there's a quality to the portraits that are exquisite. You know, it's a lighting effect, the light coming through and hitting. Huh?
They're alive.
They're alive, yeah. So you're actually looking through Rembrandt's eyes what he felt and saw when he saw the model. Totally different thing than if you're just painting it. But see, what I find most times paintings fail because the artist isn't quite connected with the painting. You should feel something when you're painting. I mean, I stick a lot of figures and animals on the edge of cliffs to give that vertigo kind of feeling. You know, it causes a little tension, kind of makes you feel like, oh, it's a little uncomfortable. And that's because my life is like that. It's like on the edge all the time. No, it's not that bad. But the thing is, there's more tension than if they're just standing in a field. I think what we do, for the most part, is that people look at painting as just rendering something. Today we were going through pictures, and I said, what pictures do you like? And she picks out a bunch of pictures, and I say, what do you like that? And she goes, well, I like the colors. I like the drawing, the abstract of it. I like all these different things. And then you just sit down and you just kind of paint it, kind of not feeling it. You just paint it. Really great art is communication. It's about something that affects you that you want to share with somebody. Really great works of art usually are about your life, and it's something you can tee into it. So like La Boheme, with a famous opera. That's really an amazing opera to watch, and it's about a lady that, like in all operas, the person dies at the end. And we all can kind of relate to that. The play Rent and the movie Rent. And it was kind of the same thing, except they were dealing with AIDS and apartments and things like that. And the owner of, the guy who wrote Rent died of AIDS, even before it was performed. And so it's a really moving play about his life, based on a story, but yet he adopted a story to actually portray his life. And so those are things that are really amazing, if you can create art from feeling like that, not just paint it, but actually be part of it. What were you thinking?
Okay, this scene is something that really hit me because he's like my father.
Who's he?
He was my boss for 20 years in Colombia, and he was kidnapped by the guerrilla. It was something that is still in my mind. It was something that really hit me, and they had him tied and blindfolded, and I knew that he was in hell. And thank God they liberated him after they paid for, but he was there for 11 months. And
11 months.
11 months, so it was so sad. And it's something that is still like coming to in my dreams, because he's now very old, and I still call him and he calls me, and but I know that he suffered that and he's affected, but still.
That's a powerful thing.
Yeah. And you can see this place that she's at. You can see like the Power to Create class, if we did this week by week by week, how like we start going down that path, and when you're at that place, it's really hard for you to talk about it because it hurts inside.
Yeah.
You know? But the thing is, that's where really great art is created. You have to have that. That's why a lot of really great art is based on religion, because people feel it so much. So it's really emotional. And the thing is, when you think about it, a painting like this that has so much expression that makes you feel like that, and then you go paint a pair of dress shoes, it's kind of a different place that you're at. The bound fists. And you bring that up forward and you're bringing him back. You're really bringing the story about being trapped, kidnapped, captive. And I mean, none of us can really know what that feels like. But it is really confrontational. And sometimes that can be therapy for you to work things out, because sometimes you don't mourn and get all that out. You're always trying to be strong. Oh, somehow you can work out stuff. But even for people, they don't want to have what they experience forgotten. And I know in a lot of ways you think, oh, I don't want him to see this picture and know that it's his. But in the other way, I think it's an important piece for his great-grandkids to have, to inherit, to remind them that their freedom is something that they have to, you capture it real well. And notice even like the hair almost feel like Christ's thorns. You know, if you notice how there's like a lot of symbolism for that.
When he didn't have any beard, but when he was liberated, he has long
beard.
And white, and his hair was not that white, but he just got all in 11 months.
Wow.
So this was so impacting.
Kind of makes storytelling tough. It's like, wow. Then you go, well, I haven't gone through all that. But it doesn't have to be you. It could be just somebody close to you, or even stories about things. I mean, even just how you feel about somebody else's story. You know, she didn't go through it, but in a way she did.
Mine.
So what were you thinking?
Well, anybody that knows me knows my favorite place is the ocean. Told us about this secret beach. So I wanted to paint the experience of being at this secret beach.
What about this story made you feel that made it special? Yeah, see, I would wonder, if it was a secret beach, I'd wonder, how could I say that? If I were to come up with a story, part of that would be the fact that it's hidden and secret. How would I tell that story? How would I make people know that this is kind of a hidden beach? See, when I'm listening to your story, how many of you got that this was like a hidden, sacred beach when she was telling me? But I mean, that was part of your story. This is a learning opportunity when people say, well, how would you tell a story? And part of that would be, well, what is the story? And so it's your honeymoon, or your second time you went there, anniversary, and somebody says, oh, there's a secret beach down there. And you say, well, what makes it secret? If somebody said, oh, there's a secret beach over there, you'd go, how do I get there? Huh?
If they say that, it's no longer
It's no longer a secret. But the thing is, what are the things
That
that...
wasn't a tourist beach.
Yeah. So in Lake Tahoe, growing up, we had secret beaches. They were also nude beaches too, because people couldn't get to them because they were so secretive. But the thing is, if I were to render that, the first thing what I would do is I would render that location and kind of show why it was secret, and it was very difficult to get a hold of. You were really high up and you looked really far down, and you had to kind of negotiate your way down. And every time I asked her, so what made it hidden? She goes, well, it really wasn't hidden. So it was really not part of the story. It's just a beach.
the name that they called it.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. I mean,
But it was special to me. So
and that's all it has to be.
yeah, it was just a really.
Yeah.
It was serene, but there was a lot going on, and it was actually, it was not a beach that you can frolic in the water. It's full of lava rock.
So, and as far as me just jumping in on there, I'm just listening to what you have to say. Because, painting is storytelling. Mm-hmm. It's like this, like with you, Dottie, you're painting of the counselor and the boy. It's like, as you're saying that, you're kind of filling in any gaps, although we didn't have any gaps. And the same thing with you, we were kind of curious to know who it was, But immediately when you said you had somebody that was abducted in Colombia, I mean, all of a sudden we got the whole story. It's like dark background, ropes, sweat, tears. Yeah.
So you want Trump?
No. No, Becky painted solitude and, you know, she painted...
Quite serene.
Yeah, but she didn't say that, oh, she would jumped over a hillside of cornfields to get there. Then I'd say, well, where's the cornfields? But she said she just laid down someplace that was just beautiful and rendered that. So, you know, I'm just going, storytelling is just telling me, you're telling me verbally what the place was, and I'm trying to say in a story, all those should be apparent. When you say, oh, it's a secret beach, we go, yeah, we can kind of see that because it's kind of hidden, isn't it? And you can say, yeah, and the sun comes up, and we have a nice clarity of the sun coming up. You know, so we have to be able to say, got it, nailed it, got it, nailed it. You know, so you take us on the story, it's a visual experience. But I'm just hanging up on this, on the, you know, the secret beach, and for a contest, it's not you.
No.
But what I'm having the rest of the group sit there and go, how would you make a secret beach? You know, if you wanted to make a beach secret, how visually would you try to do that? And hopefully when I say that, you guys are thinking, yeah, how would I paint something that's secret? If you'd like to try coaching for yourself, whether you're a beginner or an advanced painter, please don't hesitate to give me a call at 415-606-9074. Join us on our website at www.thegrandview.org and get more information about our show. There you can download our free book, Everything You Need to Know About Outdoor Painting.